Hello everyone and welcome to the next video on this channel. My name is Peps and I welcome you to the final review of the G1 Climax Review Series. We have day 19. It's the final of the G1 Climax 35. One name from Evil and Konosuke Takeshita will work out of the show as the winner of the G1 Climax. They will get a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Zack Sabre Jr. A final that I criticize heavily on paper, in my opinion, still rightfully so, for it being an outsider, an AEW wrestler, against the top heel in Evil. They had a clear plan going into this, and I would just say we jumped straight into the entire show. I will quickly talk about some of the stuff that happened on the undercard and everything, because there was some couple of interesting things that I would quickly want to mention. The first being, of course, the attendance. We had an attendance of 6,870 in Ariake Arena, which is down from over 8,000 last year in Sumo. So they drew 1,000 fans less than last year, and that is like a disaster in my opinion. You shouldn't go into a bigger venue expecting to draw more and then just not only draw less or the same, but just draw 1,000 fans left. In terms of the angle, so you set up a couple of things on the show. The biggest one was the return of the Knockout Brothers, aka the Young Blood, as they are not only part of the Bullet Club War Dogs, but also are challenging the IWGP Tag Team Champions Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi on the upcoming show. Their new names are Oscar and Yuto Ice. Yuto Ice is a funny name. He comes off like a rapper with his chain and everything, with his grills in his mouth, and he walks out there with an attitude and with the charisma of a star. Like, it's very clear that this guy just has something going on with him. Like, he's going to be the breakout star of this team. I love this look. I love how he is acting and everything in this. He comes off like a legitimately badass, and him and Loibe facing off against the tag champ should be a cool program at first. He also should just straight up win, but the chance that will happen, I don't know if that's likely or not, because the truth is New Japan is kind of weird with the young guys and everything, so there's that. Aside of that, we had a couple of other title challenges. For example, Yo is challenging for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship held by El Desperado, as well as El Desperado and Hirosuke Taguchi teasing to challenge Master Wataru Yano and Yo for the Never Six-Man Championships, which is like very much whatever. Then we also have Toru Yano challenging Tanahashi to a 3-match series, which will be a singles match, a tag team match, and a trios match on September 15th, which will be a cool house show. I would imagine the trios match might just end up as a IWGP, as a Never Six-Man title match, but I just can't confirm that or anything, so there's that. And aside of that, we had the typical House of Torture stuff that is set up. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Randall Rita for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is likely the match for Destruction Kobe. Then we have Bolton Oleg versus Don Fale for the Never Heavyweight Championship. That is like literally whatever. And then for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, we have Team Negate, Robbie Eagles likely, together with Kazufuji and Sho versus Doki. And that is just bullshit, because it's like the worst follow-up you can give Gozi Fujita after losing the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match to El Desperado. But, you know, this company is just stupid at points. So you don't even try to question that. In general, I would say the undercard angles were very much okay. A lot of House of Torture stuff, which is kind of stupid in my opinion. But, you know, that is the company we live in. House of Torture is controlling the company. And we have seen that with the main event as well, where we have the House of Torture's leader, Evil, in the G1 Climax final against Don Callis' family's own, AEW's, DDT's, New Japan's own Konosuke Takeshita. In a match where I would say coming into this, I was like the least hype I've ever been for a G1 final. There was like no hype for me. I had no interest in the outsider facing off against the typical top heel guy. And I was wondering how this will play out in terms of the atmosphere and everything, because on Twitter they were like really leaning towards Evil, because And it's not because they love House of Torture. I feel like they just want to see someone they've been following for years finally get their big moment with Evil, instead of the guy who's pretty much jumping the line. And so I was kind of interested to see how this will go down in the venue. And it started off with Evil making his entrance, coming out with Dick Togo, Yuji Takashi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, Doki, Sanada, and Don Fale. But he sends them behind the guardrail so that they can't cheat. Yay, cool. I mean, that was like, okay. I was like, cool, they will interfere anyway. On the other side, Takeshita comes out with Rocky Romero of all people. And he was like defending him 1 against 9. So that was kind of a funny visual. He also stood behind the guardrail. The match started and we got 50-50 chance between Evil, Konosuke Takeshita, which was showing right out of the gate what kind of atmosphere we are getting. We are getting a crowd that respects Takeshita, but is also rooting for the guy that has been busting his ass off for the company in the past 10 plus years. The funniest part about this was at the beginning stretch, Takeshita kind of got booed from the Evil fans when he was in offense, and I feel like personally that was the reason why they jumped into it after like a minute or so, because they noticed, okay, this is kind of falling apart, and then we had Kanemaru just jumping in right off the gate after like 2 minutes or so that the crowd turns around and cheers on Takeshita. Evil, of course, gets the control based on the interference, and he starts to do the STF with Joe ringside, which was kind of a funny thing. Like, that was actually like really cool, and you know, I liked it a lot, because it was like, okay, we are mocking the guy ringside. That is cool heel heat. But the crowd kind of just cheered him on and everything. He he then also grabbed the G1 trophy, lifted into the air and everything before he won, and the crowd erupted into cheers and cheered him on. That was also funny, because they clearly leaned towards Evil and throughout the beginning stretch and in the end of the match. And Evil just totally leaned into it, and I liked that a lot. Then we got even more interferences, including Rocky Morello taking House of Torture out together with Takeshita. Rocky and the Young Lions bring back the others backstage, which is Don Fallon and everything. So it's down to just Takeshita and Evil in the ring. The wrestle for a bit more clean until then. Takeshita hits gets him in the chicken wing sleeper, and the crowd just chants on Evil, Evil, Evil. And then the funniest thing ever happened in the entire match. Ren Narita pulls out the referee, and the crowd starts to boo. They totally changed from booing, from chanting for Evil to booing House of Torture because interfered. And then it shows exactly how they feel about all of this. They wanted to hear Evil. They want him to win. They want him to get the moment, but they don't like the House of Torture interferences. They want to see him wrestle clean. And it's like perfect. This match, in terms of the atmosphere, was so funny. The crowd was so funny. And it kind of made it fantastic, in my opinion, because you had an atmosphere you're just not seeing in the G1 Climax normally, where they are cheering the guy that New Japan clearly does not want to get cheered. Zack Sabre Jr. then comes out and drags out Ren Narita with an ankle lock, and from then on it was 1 versus 1. I kind of had always in my back of that, okay, one of them is interfering, right? But no, from then on, until the very end, the last 15 minutes pretty much, were just clean wrestling. Evil was wrestling clean, and it was great, in my opinion. Evil hit, for example, great superplex for the top rope, and the crowd got louder and louder with everything, and I need to give them that. The atmosphere in this match was phenomenal. It felt great. It felt big time. Evil had his supporters in this crowd, obviously, and that is like what helped us a lot. Like, imagine this would have been a fully on Takeshita crowd. It would have had silence during the Evil sequences, which we had a lot in G1 Climax. So they did a lot here right, in my opinion, personally. Even though they kind of lucked into that. Takeshita kind of hit the everything is evil when Evil tried to go for it. That was a really good near fall. And he followed it up with a blue thunder bomb and a sand bomb for a cool 2 count. Then we started off with the finishing stretch that started with Evil hitting the reverse everything is evil. that gets a close to counter. It was one of the more protected moves that Evil has in his repertoire. Then he goes on, hits or like locks in the sharpshooter, which made Yodatsuji pass out the match before. Takeshita kind of teased to tap out. He clapped one or twice on the mat, and the crowd erupted in cheers for a second before they realized, oh, that was a fake out. And it was a fantastically done fake out because it got the crowd like cheering for 1 second, and they got back into reality, and Takeshita escapes it. That was fantastically done by them, even though I don't think it was like on purpose or anything, but that was like a cool thing. Evil tried to hit Everything's Evil then, but Takeshita breaks down and the crowd starts to boo a little bit, which was kind of funny. Then Evil goes for the second attempt of Everything's Evil, a big forearm by Takeshita and a big forearm by Evil on top for 2 loud cheers. In general, they were, towards the end, they got better and louder and louder and louder for Evil. A third attempt by Evil for the Everything is Evil, but they could count it into an incredible German super. Incredible. It was like a nutcracker suplex where he had him tied up under his stick and then just threw him over. That was just fantastic. I don't know how the move is cool, but it was like incredible. One of the best moves I've ever seen. I've seen all year, and it's just something that you need to guys see. I think everyone has seen it. It went on Twitter viral. So that was just a freak of nature move from Takeshita. This guy is an insane athlete. We had then the knee strike, and the near fall from Takeshita. Takeshita then went on for another knee strike, but this time his knee gave up, which was kind of silly because he has not sold his leg the entire match and he just started. Evil used that, hit the low blow, hit the lariat, goes for the fourth Everything is Evil attempt, but he got countered again into a roll-up, then full-up with the last right, powerbomb, knee strike, blocked by Evil, and a sick form exchange to catch the one in the end. And then he goes for the Raging Fire. 1, 2, 3. In 26 minutes, Konosuke Takeshita beats Evil to win the 2025 G1 Climax. What a match. God bless Evil and Takeshita. God bless them, because they had really dumb booking. I will not backtrack on that, even though I love this match. This booking sucked. Everything around this G1 in terms of booking sucked. But they went out there with the toughest situation possible, facing bad booking. You don't know how the crowd will react. And he put on a great match. One of the best G1 Climax matches this year so far, in my opinion. I will have this very highly in terms of potential match of tournament lists. I will likely drop a video on that either tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not sure. And it was just great. The atmosphere, of course, helped. Ariake brought it to the table, and New Japan got the memo also to keep it as clean as possible. Once the first 5 minutes or so ended, I think it was like the first 7 or 8 minutes, and they got the goons of House of Torture out of there, it got better and better. It was like legitimately fantastic. I have multiple points I will be talking about. The first thing will be, of course, the most important one in my opinion, and that is Takeshita winning. Because I feel like that should be what we are talking about, but it kind of isn't for other reasons we'll come to later. Konosuke Takeshita, of course, is now the G1 Climax winner and decided backstage pretty much that he will be challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship before Wrestle Kingdom. So it seems to be that it will be King of Pro Wrestling again, which means he will likely walk into Wrestle Kingdom as the IWGP World Champion. And I was thinking about, okay, how could this go and everything? And looking at what they have set up Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ren Narita at likely Destruction Kobe, which will Zack, of course, win. So then it's Zack versus Takeshita 3. This year, it's King of Pro Wrestling. Both are heading into it with 1 win each. I would imagine Takeshita wins this one as well and walks out of King of Pro Wrestling as the World Champion to go all in with his momentum. And then we are heading into Wrestle Kingdom. The question is, first of all, is he defending his belt before that? I could see him doing like an AEW defense. To be honest, I think that is likely, even though I don't really want to see it. because I feel like if he wins the belt, they should just set up the Wrestle Kingdom match straight off the gate. But I also could see him defending it at Power Struggle, which is in Gifu, Tanahashi's hometown. And it's not like a big venue. I don't think they will need an IWGP World Championship for that. But I also said that about the Nagoya Tanahashi Gem Show, and they run Zag versus Goda there, including title switch. So I'm not counting that out. And then we got Wrestle Kingdom. And I'm thinking about, okay, who could challenge him at Wrestle Kingdom? Because that is, of course, a big match he will be building to with Takeshita, especially as champion. He lost in the G1 Climax to Shota Umino and El Phantasmo. He also potentially has the match against Yoda Tsuji that they clearly saved on purpose here in the G1 Climax to run it later in a bigger match. He also just could defend against anyone in the A block that he hasn't faced, but I don't think anything is likely there outside of Tsuji. Maybe Uemura, but I don't think Uemura is ready yet to get the big spot. And the more I think about it, the more I see comparison to last year's G1 Climax. We had Zack Sabre Jr. winning the IWGP World Championship at King of Pro Wrestling, defending it against the guy he lost in the G1 Climax. And then he defended it against Shota Umino. What if they're doing the exact same thing again? Takeshita wins the world title. Maybe defends against El Phantasmo. Maybe he doesn't. And then the Wrestle Kingdom match is against Shota Umino. And I don't like this. I did not like their match in the G1 in the block stage. I was very open about that. But if they want to go all in, literally all in on Takeshita, and I think that is the reason, I don't think Tsuji gets the main event. I don't think Tsuji gets the main event of Wrestle Kingdom if he loses. He only gets it, in my opinion, if he wins. Do I see that happening? I don't know. I'm very unsure. Could easily be. He also just could, could go into Wrestle Kingdom and just win or just lose, whoever. I don't know. But I feel like if they want Takeshita to be the guy, I feel like it will be Shota Umino. And I don't like that at all. Because it's Shota Umino, we have seen his push has failed multiple times, and giving him another main event already feels undeserved. Another thing I want to talk about is the crowd in this match, because it was like very special and very different from what they likely expected. And it showed what kind of fans Japan still has in the venues. It's not the regular casual fans that will come because it's G1 season. It's the absolute sickos. The top-notch in the know fan. The fans that have been there for years. And we noticed that with their chants. The longer this match went, the longer Takeshita was in control, the louder the crowd got for Evil. They wanted to cheer him on. They wanted to see him win. They wanted a guy they have been following for the past 10 years, who has been busting their ass off in every single city, instead of the guy who comes in once every month, defeats their guys, and just goes away back to AEW. Of course it doesn't work well with the crowd. Like, it's very similar for AEW fans or WWE fans, for example. Like when Brock Lesnar came in every month and just defeated a guy, people hated it. People would hate it as well if there was a guy in AEW that was a part-time that comes in every now and then and just defeats their guys and goes away. Of course they will hate it, regardless how good they is. Even though I wouldn't say they hated it because it's the wrong word, because they definitely got the cheers and the crowd really respects Takeshita. But it clearly didn't work out the way they wanted it. They wanted to lay out the match in a way where Takeshita is a big babyface that overcomes the heels. But instead, it felt like Takeshita was defeating a respected veteran. And it's still good. I would say the direction was still great. The people liked in the venue the win of Takeshita. But it also showed not only what fans they have in the venue, but also how they feel about Evil. They wanted to own Evil, but they just aren't allowed to. Because New Japan doubles down in every single moment they get that Evil is this evil heel instead of the guy they want to cheer on, because they had the chance to in January when he lost to Tanahashi and he went away for like a month and a half. They had the chance to turn him babyface there. Instead, he comes out, attacks Yoda Tsuji and Geek Kid after a double counter match and got big Shinny Hanshin and everything, where it felt like, okay, this is Shinny Pro Wrestling. They double down on him being the guy who destroys Shinny Pro Wrestling. And the crowd does not want that. They want to cheer this guy, and New Japan should let them cheer him. There is, and that frustrates me, they kind of lock themselves into a situation where Evil could be a top face in this company. And it's not because they booked well. It's because they booked so badly that they got something lucky there. And if that happens, then you can just question yourself why they didn't do that like months earlier, if not years earlier. It's frustrating. It's bad. It's just dumb booking. And this booking team is just terrible. We should never, in not a million years, have a situation where Evil loses a G1, or like where Konosuke Takeshita wins a G1 Climax final against Evil, and the crowd pretty much wants Evil to win. Social media, kind of the same. If you go on the Japanese social media pages, so we're kind of upset. Not everyone, of course, but there were definitely a portion that was upset that Takeshita won over Evil. We are in hell. And it's all the booking's fault. It's similar to what happened with Yo and Kosuke Fujita, where they had this great Best of Super Juniors final match that Fujita won. And coming out of it, everyone talked about Yo instead of the guy winning. And it's once again the veterans that kind of get the spotlight, even though it's just based on bad booking or just them being so good. But it's an issue in New Japan. It's been an issue, and it's a self-made issue. And it sucks. It sucks so much. Well, anyway, I would say overall this final was great. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I have my problem with the booking. I will be vocal about it with my booking. I will be doing a video on House of Torture right after G1 before I fly over to Forbidden Door on Friday. I will do some research, everything on that, and I will try to make it as critical in a positive and negative way as I can without coming off as a hater or a big fan. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment down below. Thank you all, really, thank you all for listening to 19 episodes of the G1 Climax Review series. This was a lot of time that went into it. I reviewed here a lot of matches, a lot of bad matches, a lot of fantastic matches. I had so much fun with that. Thank you all for just enjoying it. The comments I'm getting, the DMs and everything. I hope you will enjoy this video. We see us soon. Bye-bye.